Resilience. My name's Kim Hayden. I'm your host today, and I'm super excited that you have chosen to share your time with me, be it during the live stream or in our post production on our podcast channels, anywhere from iTunes or to iHeart to Spotify, you name it. We're everywhere out there. But the whole goal here at Kim Talks Resilience is to bring you that message of resilience. Sometimes we're talking business, sometimes we're talking health, sometimes we're talking family, but it's always through that positive lens to make your day just that bit better. So today we're talking health because you know what? I need a little bit of support. Everybody out there can just be a wee bit healthier. Today, we've invited Alicia Hess into our studio to share with us. She is a family nurse practitioner and a virtual health consultant, which is very interesting and probably was in high demand during this past few years. She recently left a conventional medicine and reshaped her focus on utilizing a functional medicine approach to help highly motivated women combat their constant battles with bloating, fatigue, inflammation, and weight gain. And it can never be too soon to have an amazing woman like you, Alicia, in studio. Welcome.
Yes, thank you for having me on.
Awesome. So you say virtual. This is going to be really fascinating because when we think of medicine, so first of all, in Western world, we think Western medicine about everything. Give me a pill, give me this, give me that. And then we think medicine all hands on. And yet, over the last few years, we've seen this huge shift on how we engage, even with our family doctors. Like, if you weren't like on death's door, you called in and got a consult before you even went to the doctor's office. Can you tell me or share with me how you work within assessing medical or needs or health virtually? Take me through that.
So, virtually as a practitioner, you can, it depends on really the route that you're going. So, the route that I have ventured into is more holistic, functional. So, that gives me more acting as a health consultant, more flexibility into the reach that I can get. And I can virtually, online, see clients anywhere in the world because I'm not limited to the state that I'm licensed in. I'm offering my expertise in health and with my experience over the last decade to help others be more intuitive with their eating, to help them discover, things they might need to be changing to improve their health and prevent chronic disease because, you want to take care of things before they get bad.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Preventative. Everything's in the preventative space. And when you talk about more of a holistic, so walk me through a little bit where, first of all, you got to gain their trust, right? Get them, because we've got to step outside of our traditional mindset. Is there a pill that can help me lose weight? Or, should I take something because my back aches and all this? Is there a step one to get people to kind of take that back, stepping away from the traditional medicine and stepping into a space of reevaluating why their back hurts, why they're not sleeping? So can you share that kind of the whole process, how that exploration of what they're actually going through?
Yeah, so that's basically the first thing that I do is after I have my initial conversation with a client and get kind of gauge what exactly their main concerns are and their main goals. I send them a very detailed health history form going back to their birth, their childhood, exposures, family history, very deep dive into their health history, their habits, their sleeping, their stress levels, their lifestyle, just kind of getting a bird's eye view at their throughout their lifespan on what things may have happened throughout their, as they were growing up, or maybe they had a very stressful event, or even the birth of a child, and all of a sudden your health has changed. So just kind of getting a more holistic view or whole body view of what's going on, and looking at my main things are hydration. Are you hydrating well? How's your nutrition? Are you eating the right foods? Is there something you're eating that maybe you're sensitive to or have an intolerance to that you weren't aware of? How's your routine? Are you sleeping well? How are your sleeping habits? How are your stress levels? So a lot of these things that you don't really get a chance to explore in the conventional, traditional doctor's visit because, you're so limited on time, and you're also, you maybe get a 15-20 minute visit to explore part of it. And then, they say, okay, well, let's try this pill, which is kind of like a Band-Aid for your symptoms. It doesn't really take care of the underlying problem or the root cause of the problem.
I mean, medication is good for definitive
Yes.
issues like
Mm-hmm.
diabetes, right?
Of
Diabetes may have
course.
multiple things, but if you're a type 1 diabetic, you need medication.
Yeah.
So we're not here to say, I don't want anybody to take away from this that we're here to circumvent any, proven medicine that is needed for,
Yes. 100%.
but I am curious though, and I'd love to have your weigh in on this. With the state of economics, and this is the weird thing, right? This I know that the inflation is grinding on people.
Mm-hmm.
And this is now affecting food. Now you're talking about food and what you're feeding your body. Healthier foods tend to be more expensive. What is something that is a cost-effective health food that we can incorporate into our diet like 3 times a week that is just really a positive plus add to our body?
So anything you want to think whole, clean food. So your fruits, your veggies, whole grains, lean proteins, and everyone always, and it's a good idea to go organic, mainly because you're limiting the pesticides and the herbicides that are exposed in those farms that those fruits and veggies are growing. So if you're eating them, you're probably also getting traces of those pesticides and herbicides that can mess with your gut. Now, on that note, I know organic foods can be expensive. There are ways to work around it. There's a really good resource by the Environmental Working Group that kind of gives you an idea of which foods during which time of the year you could get away with not being organic to save you money there and give you some health or cost effective options. Also, just having that perspective that even though, healthier food items may cost $1 or 2 more, kind of having that perspective that eating healthy early on is going to save you a lot of medical bills and medication costs potentially in the future.
Well, and okay, so first of all, before we move off of food, 2
Mm-hmm.
things. Chickpeas. Chickpeas. Tell me, are they really that good for you? Everybody wants to give me hummus and chickpeas. So, are they really that good for you?
Chickpeas, they're definitely not a bad food. They're actually on one of the I've utilized therapeutic nutrition for clients, and chickpeas is definitely on that list. It's definitely healthier than chips and
And
potato
dip, yeah.
chips. Yeah,
And I actually learned how to make all my own hummuses. So I can do roasted red
yeah, that's
peppers. I can
awesome.
do. I just like for some reason it's just better when it's not already done in the store,
Yeah,
right?
cooking fresh is always best, especially when it
Yeah,
comes to condiments and spices, dressings. A lot of those condiments at the store are loaded with, high fructose
preservatives.
corn syrup and preservatives. So when you can make your own dressings and seasonings, that's really beneficial.
And I just want everybody to know that you can go online and you can look up any seasoning. You can look up any like taco seasonings, like anything you want to make. You can look them all up and make them and do all your own blends. You can even go online if you want to do Olive Garden's dressing. You can actually make
Oh,
the
I
Olive
love their
Garden's dressing.
dressing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we've talked food and finance. One of the ways that I think that is a great way a great fit within everything you're talking about is community gardens. I know we have community gardens here in Canada. Is there many opportunities across the United States, or do your clients ever see opportunities to participate with a community garden?
That might be less of a thing over this side of town. I'm in Florida. I mean, we have local farms if you are living out in that area, But unfortunately, I don't see a lot of community like freshly grown produce stands around here. And the
Interesting.
ones that we do have are not great. So
Yeah.
you do kind of have to venture out a little further, probably to spend, half the day going out, going to those fresh local fruit and veggie stands. But
Yeah, I
that's
know.
a great idea.
Well, I know that in New York, they actually have a mandate coming down by 2030 that there are certain ratios of rooftops and everything that have to be used for certain purposes, and one of them is community gardens. So
Yeah,
the
that's
goal
awesome.
is, yeah, which is, I would think that that is, I know that there's a whole push on it for local parks to have local gardens in them and things like that
Hmm.
here. Be something to look into.
Yeah. Well, we do
So
actually have, we call it the Saturday morning market. So we do actually have some vendors on occasion that sell their fruits and veggies from their farm. So that is one option I just remembered
yeah,
that we have.
absolutely. And
Hmm.
farmers markets, everybody should know this. Farmers markets are so good on so many levels. A, they help reduce your stress because you can just mingle and enjoy.
Hmm.
B, the money goes directly into your neighbor's pocket. And C, it's fresh, it's clean, it's coming to, or as clean as it's going to get, but it's coming to you fresh, right? So
Yeah.
there's this like positive energy around it. So I've talked a bit about finances and stuff because we talk a lot on the resilience is also, we look at the women as this whole entity, right? We have our life, our love, and our business, right?
Hmm.
So everything's there. With the economy where it's at, with the world of where it's at, knowing that finances and the emotional triggers that are out there, the division within our social media, the division within our politics, all of this is creating this cesspool of stress. I call it my stress pool, you know, inside. Can you
Hmm.
share with us what are some of the side effects that we could easily identify in our body that is being triggered or activated by stress? And what are a few things that we could do to stop, instead of stop, drop, and roll? It's like, stop, pause, and breathe. Like, can you share with us how you could deal with a client who is dealing with, I mean, the world is crazy.
Yeah.
So how do we deal with this?
So stress, it's a very psychological, neurological thing. And the first thing I believe that it affects is our gut. Our gut has a lot of neurotransmitters and what we call the enteric nervous system. And when that's affected, it can throw off a lot of things. It can cause, those irritable bowel syndrome. So think of when you're nervous for a test, or maybe you're nervous for a podcast. You kind of get like those butterflies and your stomach. You just you feel like you're running to the bathroom, or you feel sick to your stomach. Kind of that same concept. So if you're exposing yourself to stressful situations, or exposing yourself to potentially environmental toxins, or uh, those potential foods that are your body perceives as toxic, those are kind of the symptoms that you will feel first is from the gut. So you may feel bloated all the time. Your energy levels may be down. If your gut is irritated, angry, or inflamed, it's not going to absorb the nutrients that you are. Even if you're eating, you could be eating the healthiest things, being very active. You know, feel that you're doing all the right things. But if your gut is not in the right place, you may not be absorbing all those nutrients. So healing your gut is a big thing. And other symptoms, depression, anxiety, ADHD, have all been linked to impaired gut health as well. So that's why my focus is on taking that deep dive into a client's history and seeing, okay, what is going on that might be affecting that gut, and other things that can be causing inflammation in the body. So joint pain is a big one. A lot of autoimmune conditions can be related to, or can be worsened by, stress, or poor eating, poor gut health. So it all kind of just wraps up into that area there.
Absolutely. And they say, it gut instinct, right? And that
Uh
actually
huh.
comes from the fact that we have all these, the gut's not just to pass your bile through, right? It's
Yeah.
it's not, it's literally has receptors that connect with other parts of your body, including your brain and your emotions.
Yeah.
What can we do? So I've heard apple cider vinegar. Everybody says shot of apple cider vinegar in the morning. Now we have a guy here that turned his brew house into a vinegar distillery that's all organic.
Hmm.
So I did get his. He's got a malt maple one that's really good for cooking, and then he had an
Mm.
apple cider one. So we hear apple cider vinegar for your gut. Tell me, what are some things that we could do that are medically founded, right?
Hmm.
Versus all the Facebook quick fixes.
Yeah. So I will say apple cider vinegar, that is a good little routine you can do in the morning. You put 1 or 2 tablespoons in a glass of warm water, preferably a room temperature water, maybe a little bit of lemon. Drink that in the morning. It kind of helps with your satiety, so helping you feel more full through the morning. Of course, you still want to eat a good breakfast. The only thing is, if you're not really a vinegar fan, it may not be your thing. Um, but there are a lot of benefits to apple cider vinegar as well. And probiotics. Probiotics, a lot of people have heard the benefits of that. Um, it comes in many forms. You can get live refrigerated probiotics. There's one I recently discovered called Dr. D's. Um, Down here, it's at a store called Publix. I don't know if you have Publix in Canada.
Nope.
Um, but it's really good, and it helps support the normal microbiome in your gut, so the normal bacteria that are in your gut. Sometimes if those bacteria get out of whack because of maybe the way you're eating or the stress, the probiotics can help support and keep those good bacteria from overgrowing and causing a lot of those symptoms. So prebiotics, probiotics, apple cider vinegar, making sure you're staying very hydrated. Those are some well-known, studied supplementations or easy things that you can do.
Supplementation. So
Mhm.
let's go down this rabbit hole, because we've been hearing a lot about too much can be too much,
Mhm.
and that some are not good, and even if you get it at a discount. And I know, like in northern, if you go to Michigan, if you go to Canada, if you go to the Dakotas, where we deal with longer winters,
Mhm.
right? We're talking vitamin D deficiencies, things like that. What are some things that we can do around? What are some kind of rule of thumbs when we're looking to have supplements as part of our daily routine?
So supplements can be. So what I do is I usually look into, because supplements are only beneficial if you're absorbing them well and if you're taking them correctly. Because if you're taking too much, your body's just flushing them out and they're not really doing you any good. The best source of supplements, all your nutrients, minerals, vitamins, is going to be from eating a rainbow of colors from your fruits, your veggies. I call it the phytonutrient spectrum. So you can get tons of nutrients from blueberries, spinach, strawberries. Blueberries have been shown to benefit those with arthritis or joint pains. And just getting kind of a rainbow of colors, get your reds, your blues, your greens, and you can get great supplements just from your natural, or what you find out. And back in the paleo days, we would eat from the land, so that would be the fruits, grains, vegetables. So kind of just going back to that foundation and making sure you're getting all of those nutrients, and then working with somebody, whether it's a doctor or a practitioner, to identify any possible nutritional deficiencies, and then looking into what supplements you may need.
So you get a baseline first. Get a
Yes.
baseline first. Absolutely. Um, when we look at, I'm going to tackle one here that's a personal one to me: menopause.
Mhm.
Menopause.
Oh yeah. Not fun.
Oh, I have seen in literally 90 days, I have lost probably close to a sixth of my hair volume, and the texture's shifted. And I was getting really freaked out until I realized and I remembered, okay, this is what it's something, it's like the reverse of what happened when I was 14 and went
Uh-huh.
through puberty, right?
Mhm.
So, and I'm very covetous about my hair.
Well, your hair looks lovely.
I'm an old hairdresser from Wichita, Kansas. I love me some good hair. So,
Uh-huh.
um, what are some, because you have the natural, it's almost like it's the weirdest thing. And I've tried to explain that the hot flashes, which I've been blessed. They haven't been overly hard or anything like that. I haven't been overly affected aside from knowing that there was shifts happening in my body by
Mhm.
seeing it in my hair. Um, but when you do get a hot flash, it's almost like a radiator heating up.
Oh,
Starts
no.
at the bottom of your feet, it cycles up your body, and then it goes back down. You can almost feel it cycling up and then down.
Mhm.
So, what are some things that a woman in menopause can do to help just manage this? Right? Because it is such a disruption to your body chemistry. Right? It's like
Mhm.
you're changing again.
Yeah. Yeah, all those hormonal fluctuations can really just wreak havoc on your body and how you're feeling and how your symptoms are.
How you sleep? Like, because
Yeah.
my cycle for the heat actually happens while I sleep.
Mhm.
I don't notice anything during the day, and then about 2 o'clock in the morning, every night now for 3 months, I go through this, like, all the covers have to come off, and I'm so what are some things that you see that women could maybe eat that help with their kind of rebalancing their hormonal balances?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm a menopausal or hormonal expert, but definitely can lend some tips for reducing those hot flashes and of things to avoid triggering those menopausal symptoms. So that's like avoiding caffeine or alcohol or spicy foods at least a couple hours before bed, because that can trigger some hot flashes. And even just during the day, limiting your intake of caffeine, spicy foods, alcohol, wine. Unfortunately, our glass of
Wine, I
wine in
know.
the evening is probably
I
not
know.
helping. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and the older you get, the faster it goes right to your gut. Literally, it thickens your waist. So it's like I think we all. I'm not going to say all. I would
Mhm.
say that the world probably needs a detox after COVID.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
but
we've all been living indoors and who knows what
oh,
we've been exposing ourselves to.
oh, absolutely,
Mhm.
absolutely. And you eat that comfort food. You eat
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
that you know is not good for you, but you eat it because it's the only thing you feel that you have control over.
Yeah, and those refined processed carbs are not gonna help with hot flashes either. So, it's
No,
best to just not keep those foods in your pantry. That way you don't resort to them and instead go to your fridge and take out some fresh veggies,
yeah,
those fruits, those, clean, lean proteins like, salmon, chicken. Red meat's not terrible. A lot of people say
yeah.
you should avoid red meat, but I love my steak once in a while,
Yeah, they
so
say actually, I have a bleeding disorder called von Willebrand's, and my
Oh,
doctor says I should eat red meat 4
mhm,
ounces once a week because the iron in red meat is the most readily absorbed into the
mhm.
system. So, I mean,
Yeah,
I
very
I
true.
have the exact opposite conversation, and I know we probably just offended a vegan or 2, but I
Well,
do.
that's the
I have,
thing.
you
That's the
know
thing. I work with everyone's different. They're if they're vegan or they're vegetarian or they're all about meat, fish. I work with everyone's preferences.
Well, and that's why I asked about chickpeas because,
Hmm.
a lot of people chickpeas is a protein, correct? Am
Hmm.
I correct on that? And that it's a kind of a good substitute if in the sense of giving you your daily protein. I guess it's
Yeah,
fairly rich
and
in that.
and fiber as well. So the more
Yeah.
protein and fiber you get in your diet, fiber is really a big one that helps you maintain and sustain your energy, because if you're just having simple carbs, your blood sugars and your energy is going to spike, and then it's going to come down as your body quickly digests that. Versus if you eat something more like chickpeas or something that has a lot of fiber in it, like those whole grains, or something like instead of white rice having quinoa. Those have more fiber, they digest more slowly, so you don't get that crash and burn. and you're staying full longer and you're sustaining your energy for a longer period of time. Um,
Well, I used
so,
to make my middle one had all sorts of issues around anxiety as a child. So
mhm,
there was a study that out of I want to say Berkeley around swimming and how it can negate temporarily anxiety because it mutes the auditory, it controls the vision,
mhm,
it controls the senses. So my son swam competitive swimming, and we would make surfer sandwiches or diver sandwiches, whatever you want
uh-huh,
to call them. And that's basically peanut butter, banana, and honey, right?
mhm.
On a sandwich. Huge hit of energy. And we got to a point where we were having quinoa bread because he needed the protein, right? Just that because there's so many breads out now
Yeah.
that you can get all those grains in. So is there any particular tell me perfect dinner. What's the perfect dinner for you? What's on your plate?
So perfect dinner for me when I have the time is if you want to compare a portion of protein to about the size of your palm. So whether that's chicken or salmon or your once a week red meat if you'd like. And then you want to add a vegetable. So I would say broccoli. Broccoli or Brussels sprouts. When speaking of hormones and menopausal symptoms, what you call cruciferous vegetables, like those vegetables that have those strong odors, cauliflower, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, those are all great for helping with your hormone balance. So if
Really?
somebody's having issues with that, because it helps regulate your estrogen levels. So a lot of women that do focus on rebalancing hormones will talk about those cruciferous vegetables. Um, I haven't tried it myself, and I love Brussels sprouts and broccoli, but that's something you can also try to help with those hormonal fluctuations. And then, of course, you want a healthy carb, so say a sweet potato, a small one, with a little bit of olive oil. Sometimes I'll sprinkle a little cinnamon on there, add a little sweetness. So just having those three, your macronutrients, so your proteins, your carbs, and your fats, because fats are not a bad thing. You just want to
No,
make sure you're
absolutely.
choosing healthy fats. So with that avocado or
Yeah.
omega-3s from salmon,
Well,
olive
and I
oil.
and I think after the whole 1980s tab soda, no, lettuce diet, I think we've all learned that fat's not a bad thing. It's what kind of fat you get. Um, Broccolini, I have to
Exactly.
say, I am a huge I could eat plates of broccolini. It's my favorite. I don't know why.
I
I
like
just
broccolini.
it's like my jam. I love broccolini. But
Uh-huh.
I think the one thing I think that was really good, and I'm hoping people got a chance during COVID, was to reconnect to their
Mhm.
kitchen. Learn to love their
Yes.
kitchen. I'm an avid cooker. I love taking care of people. Um, oh, discovered during COVID, sweet potatoes, savory sweet potatoes. Have you ever done your sweet potatoes savory?
Is
You
that sort of like is that mashed?
mashed with a dollop of sour cream and
Oh.
chives. Oh my
Oh,
gosh,
that sounds
it is
delicious.
it is so good. That
Yeah.
with some broccolini and then whatever meat or whatever you want. So good. So good. Now, you don't even
I'll
need meat
definitely have
if
to
you
try
want to
it.
put pecans in it. If you put chopped pecans in it to give it texture and that nuttiness, you don't even need meat now because your pecans are a great substitute for that, correct? I
Yeah.
I think. You know what? I'm going on the old school. You got to remember, I grew up in the age of Weight Watchers, Jenny Craig, tap sodas. Where by the time of 30, half the 20-year-olds were going to have some sort of deficiency, bone deficiency, because they had
No
nothing
calcium.
going in them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing I like to talk about too, is that standard American diet, or what some people call the standard American diet or the SAD diet, because it's full of those processed artificial foods, and those just wreak havoc on our bodies. So trying to get away from that. And I used to be the person that was like, oh, whatever. you're being dramatic. Stop. Some people would just be kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Like snooty about it. But now that I'm learning more about how, this fast food and packaged processed foods, how terrible they are for you, I've definitely learned to make changes to just get those out of my life.
Well, and a lot of our restaurants are trying to make strides in
Oh yeah.
how they feed us. So, like, even when
Hmm.
Wendy's brought out the baked potato as an option to the French fries, right? So we are seeing. I think the challenge is having that support network, having a mentor in your corner like yourself, Alicia,
Hmm.
that you have this almost like this other person that is with you when you're making those challenging choices because we have what we
Accountability.
want.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So, Alicia, can you share with us where can we find you? And just give us all your information so people can connect with you.
Yeah, so there's a few ways you can find me. I see that you have my website right down there. Gives you a little bit of more info about my background, what I do, my mission, my goals. I'm also on social media platforms, TikTok and Instagram. My Instagram is underscore I am wellness. I think you had that somewhere. And TikTok has kind of been my main platform where I'm posting a lot of educational videos. Some of them are kind of silly, funny. um, but I turn it into more educational and informative. And there's some videos that have just blown up because it's mostly those videos where people can relate to, like going to the doctor and not really being heard, stuff like that. Or what's another one that really launched? But those are my three main areas where you can find me.
Awesome, awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing your time with us. And
Yes.
just
Thank
hang
you.
tight. I'm going to let everybody go here. Again, Kim Hayden, I am so incredibly grateful, thankful, and blessed every day that you choose to share your most valuable resource, your time, with me and my amazing guests. So, again, thank you for joining us here at Kim Talks Resilience. So, be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and share. Even if you don't like it, comment, share it. I want to hear it. All right. Until next time, thanks for joining me.